People were always asking us how on earth did a bunch of white Scotsmen end up playing black American funk in the 1970s. Well, we were all into James Brown, but a lot of it was down to our drummer, Robbie McIntosh. If the music wasn't funky, he wouldn't play. He was an absolute groove master, which was strange for a guy from Dundee. We had all jammed together but then moved down to London. One day, by chance, we met up again at a Traffic gig. We were grumbling about music and someone said, why don't we get together and play like we used to? A friend heard us jamming and said this is too much for the average white man. When we'd all stopped laughing, the name just stuck. Robbie had taken what he didn't know was heroin. He didn't live to see the track go to number one. Pick Up the Pieces came about as we were starting to make a name for ourselves in Los Angeles. Hamish did the guitar line, Roger Ball came up with the first bit of the horn melody, and suddenly we had this instrumental. The legendary Jerry Wexler signed us to Atlantic and packed us off to Miami, where the equally legendary producer Arif Mardin recorded this instrumental jam. I argued with them about putting it out as a single. You're completely mad, I said. It's a funk instrumental played by Scotsmen with no lyrics other than a shout. But that might be why it was a hit, and then became a standard, because it was different. That Pick Up the Pieces shout just fitted. It's about picking yourself up when things aren't going well. We'd spent a lot of time making no money whatsoever, so it felt very relevant. And then everything took off. The funk fraternity would hear the record and love it, then come to see us and go, hey, you're a white Hamish Stewart, songwriter guitarist. We went from rehearsing in a house with blankets over the windows to being the hottest ticket in town. Interviews in Rolling Stone, Jack Nicholson at our gigs, the works. I remember walking into that studio in Miami and seeing Aretha Franklin singing and playing piano. Our jaws hit the floor. We're here, we thought. We're among the history of what we love. And then suddenly chaos ensued. Average white band in the early 70s. Photograph Keith Bernstein. Redfern's Pick Up the Pieces kept changing. There were new grooves emerging with Kool the Gang, the Fatback Band and the Ohio Players, and we wanted something just as fresh. Listening to the final playback was sensational. Everyone was dancing around the room, even though we were not all that prone to dancing, certainly not without vast quantities of alcohol. Soon we were doing 2 90-minute sets a night. Elton John would turn up, take us out to dinner after, and we'd get back at dawn. We were partying non-stop. One night, several of us were invited to this party in a house that looked over Hollywood. Cher was there, and then suddenly chaos ensued. Robbie was down. We eventually got him back to the hotel, but when he awoke in the morning he had a heart attack and died. In your 20s, you think you're invincible, and at 24 Robbie was the youngest of us. It turned out he had taken what he didn't know was heroin. So Robbie didn't live to see Pick Up the Pieces go to number one in America a few months later. He was such a character, the magnet that brought us together. Everyone wanted to play with him. It took us years to get over losing him. We were literally picking up the pieces. It went from being a song about being skint to being a song about Robbie. The 360 Band, featuring Stewart and Duncan, released the album 360 on the 18th of August. The current lineup of Average White Band toured the UK in November.